Oh, yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up. Hey, back and back it on up. Hey, back and back it on up. Hey, back and back it on up.
Hey, yo, welcome to the Tigers Avenue Monday edition live show. Man, we're so excited for tonight's show. We got some awesome stuff to talk about. We got some bummer stuff to talk about. And then we have some more awesome stuff to talk about again. It's going to be a great show. We're super excited about tonight. Let's get right into it. Zach, big time news coming at you Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Jayden Daniels, Arizona State transfer, is now coming to the LSU Tigers. Zach, give me your initial thoughts on this commitment. But before we do that, I just have to say, round of applause to Zachary Lee. Zachary Lee made an incredible edit. And Jayden Daniels, thank you, Bobby, for throwing that up. Look at that edit. Look at it. Jayden Daniels announces his commitment with TA Edits.
That's
Mr.
right.
Zachary
That's
Lee,
right. Oh, yeah.
you are very talented. I could never do that. The patience that it probably took to be able to do that and crop that all on him was incredible. And the fact that he used it for his commitment to the LSU Tigers was
Big
awesome.
time.
And look, he announced it on Instagram and tagged us in it. And I run our Instagram page, and it was popping on Sunday. It was popping.
Yes,
I mean, we just started it like 2 weeks ago, and we had like 31 followers on Sunday afternoon. We got like 87 followers now. I mean, thank you, Jayden Daniels, for tagging us in it because it kind of popped off.
87 followers.
I mean, holy cow. But, Zach, all props to you for that edit. That was an incredible edit. I mean, I was doing Sunday night Bible study, and my phone wouldn't stop vibrating, man. I mean, we were popping off Sunday evening. Incredible.
Sunday night
And,
Bible study.
Yeah, man, Sunday night Bible study. We was
you're getting the Jayden Daniels tweets.
Yeah, man. I mean, just
stuff.
That was super awesome, though. I mean, that was so cool for us as fans, right? I mean, this is something that we've, dreamed of doing. And for such a big transfer announcement for him to use your edit like that, I'm not even going to take any credit for it whatsoever because that's all your doings. Let's get that clear. Everybody's listening. That's all Zach. That ain't none of Reagan's creativity because there ain't no creativity bone in my body. That's all Zach and his techno stuff. All you see, these like Tiger Avenues edits and our logo and all that, that's all Zach. So all credit to him in that. That was awesome. I mean, we were super thrilled that he used us. So thank you, Jayden, for using our stuff and tagging us in that as well.
For sure.
So now, Zach, give me your thoughts on Jayden Daniels. How does this impact the Tigers? What does this mean for the quarterback room?
Well, first off, I do want to say and give credit to AD because AD was actually the one that suggested I was going to do the edit, but AD was like, "Hey, you need to do the all whites. Like he needs to be in the all whites."
Yeah,
and I was like,
Icy?
"Oh, for sure,
Icy."
Yeah, get it icy." So thank you, Danny girl. Yes, dude, I'm gonna be Zac Efron for the rest of my life.
Live it now. Never.
Oh my goodness. But anyways, so yeah, I gotta give AD his props. He said to go with the all white. I told him I was doing an edit, and he said go with the all whites for the uniform. I did it, and yeah, really cool to have Jayden post it and then actually DM us and mention us, which was really, really cool. So yeah. Now, as far as the commit goes, I think it's huge for LSU. I know there's a lot of fans that some are unhappy with it, which confuses me because I think anytime you get an extra quarterback in your quarterback room, it's nothing but positive because QB obviously is the most important role on a football team. It might be the most important role in just as an individual player in all of organized sports. I mean, the quarterback position is massively important, and to get a guy, and not only just a body, but to get a guy that is experienced. He has a ton of game reps under his belt. You know, he's played in the Power Five. Like, that's huge. Not only that, but at the time, he was also the number one quarterback in the portal. Of course, you know, there were guys like Jackson Dart and Caleb Williams and Quinn Ewers. Like, all those guys have been in the portal, but they've already committed somewhere. So all the quarterbacks that were available in the portal at the time, Jayden Daniels was the highest rated quarterback per 247 Sports. He's a 4-star coming out of the portal, and LSU went and got him. Here's the reason I think that this is really important, Reagan. When you go and you break down the film of Jayden Daniels, and not just his film, but you break down Mike Denbrock's offense and you break down Brian Kelly's offenses, a lot of them have had QBs that were mobile. Right. QBs that were mobile. You've got that in Garrett Nussmeier. You've got that in Walker Howard. Miles Brennan, though, who was likely to be the starter, he did not have that ability. He does not have that ability. And so you bring in a very experienced quarterback that not only has an arm, but is very mobile. Go look at the highlights. Go on YouTube, wherever you want to find them. Go watch the highlights. Jayden Daniels can move. Now, maybe when he gets to LSU, they need to feed him some Cajun food. You know, feed him some gumbo, feed him some beans and rice or something, whatever, because he needs to
Put
gain
some
a
meat
few
on them bones.
So, you know, but either way, I'm very excited about Jayden coming. You know, we had been told and had been hearing that LSU was actively looking for another quarterback in the transfer portal, and it was confirmed. They went out, they got the best available quarterback in the portal at the time, and now Jayden Daniels is going to be a Tiger. I think this not only adds depth to a quarterback room, it definitely adds more talent, because Jayden Daniels is very talented. I know a lot of people are going to go back and they're going to look at some of the stats and they're going to go, oh gosh, the stats weren't great. We forget that his freshman year, he had dudes all around him. Yeah. And then all those dudes were gone in the next year, and you're having to deal with the COVID year. Now he's going to come to LSU. He's going to leave Arizona State, leave the Pac-12, and he's going to come to LSU, where he's going to have Kayshon Boutte. He's going to have Malik Neighbors. He's going to have Jack Besh. He's going to have Brian Thomas, Jr., Chris Hilton, Dre Jenkins. I mean, the list just goes on and on. He's going to have John Emery, Noah Kane in the backfield. I mean, it's ridiculous. You're going to have Miles Frazier and all these dudes on the offensive line. Like, now he is surrounded now by SEC talent, and it's only going to elevate his game. Now, what this also does for LSU is it creates a quarterback competition. This is going to be between Miles Brennan and Jayden Daniels, which I think is good. Here's why. Because I don't think you should ever unless you're just dead set, Miles Brennan deserves to earn this starting role. He deserved to be pushed by someone. And now Jayden Daniels is going to come in this quarterback room and he's going to push Miles Brennan in competition. And that excites me because between Miles Brennan and between Jayden Daniels, eventually they're going to have their starter, and it's going to be the best version of those two guys, because they're going to push each other. They're going to push each other in spring, and they're going to push each other in the fall. And you're going to have a better version, whereas, you know, Miles Brennan, he comes back, he doesn't have anybody transfer in, and maybe he's thinking, you know, I got the job, I'm good. You know, he's standing on the bar at walk-ons, and he's thrust in the air because he knows he's got it right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now he's got to work. But now he's got something to worry about. He's got to worry about Jayden Daniels coming from Arizona State,
Correct.
and
we may have lost Zach there, but he was. I gotta agree. He was making some really great points. Bobby, if you would throw up the Reagan hat game falling off, bro. Comment. AD, look, my hat game stays strong. It stays strong, and I stay ready. Y'all check this out real quick, just in case somebody says something. Just in case, I came ready. Yes, sir. Back at it again with the sun hat. Y'all thought I fell off. I never fall off. Hat game, stay strong. So I want to pick it up right where Zach left off, though. Had to flex on the hat game a little bit. Hat game never falls off. But Jayden Daniels absolutely adds major depth to a position that you probably had some question marks at. I mean, we weren't 100% on Miles because Miles has not had that experience. I mean, you look at what Miles has done. He started 3 games, guys. I mean, and he's battled injuries, and I mean that's just the reality of it. You need a guy who maybe has some experience, and that guy's Jayden Daniels, who has experience. I'm not saying that Jayden Daniels is handed the starting position. I believe that there's going to be a competition, and there's going to be a battle in spring ball and in fall camp for that starting position, and I'm excited about it. But when you talked about, Zach, quarterback depth is so important, and we learned that big time recently.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a point in time when you had 4 quarterbacks, and we're like, well, who's going to start? I mean, man, we got Miles Brennan, we got Max Johnson, we got TJ Finley, we got this new guy coming in, freshman Garrett Nussmeier. What are we going to do with all this? Lo and behold, TJ Finley transfers out, Miles Brennan breaks his arm, and you're sitting with 1 quarterback and a freshman. So quarterback depth is important. I mean, this is a big addition to the quarterback room. There's no doubt about it. And Jayden Daniels has Power 5 experience, and he's going to bring some competition and some depth. I mean, and you kind of like the way this shapes up a little bit better than the TJ Finley, than the Miles Brennan, the Max Johnson, and the Garrett Nussmeier, because you kind of felt like, okay, somebody's going to transfer out here. And you may have somebody transfer out after spring, but it felt like it was almost a guarantee with those 4, with TJ Finley, Max, Miles, and Garrett. With these guys, Jayden Daniels is staying, obviously. He just came in. Miles is staying, obviously. He's coming back. And I really don't think that Garrett, I mean, he could be the one question mark. Maybe he goes, maybe not. But he may not, and then you have this depth that's there, and then Walker Howard can redshirt, and he can learn and go through a whole year, and then he can be that dude a few years down the line. And so I really, really like the addition of Jayden Daniels, and you hit the nail on the head. Mobility. Jayden Daniels not only brings experience, but he also brings that mobility. We have a very lightly seasoned, experienced quarterback. 3 games worth, 3 starts worth,
and not against the best competition in the SEC,
and not against the best competition either. Right? Yeah. I mean, it was Missouri, Vanderbilt, and State. Jayden Daniels brings that experience for like 3 years worth, and he's got that mobility. So, and look, Jayden Daniels was the 35th or 39th ranked player in the country when he came 35th.
2019.
He was the second ranked dual quarterback in the nation. This is a big time recruit that we're talking about here. I don't even know how Arizona State reeled a guy in like that. Holy cow. I mean, dude's a top 50 quarterback.
He also has 3 years of eligibility, Reagan.
Absolutely.
If you didn't know that, he also has 3 years of eligibility, which is just crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're not only adding depth, experience, mobility, competition, but he's got a few years in his pocket, right? So this is going to be an exciting thing to watch play out. And maybe Brian Kelly felt like we were an elite quarterback, or maybe not even elite, just a quarterback who has experience, who can sling the ball and move away from 10-win season, right? I mean, I feel like with Miles, you're sitting around 8-9. I feel like with Jayden Daniels sitting around 9-10.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got 3 years with him. So the next year, there's no telling what it could look like if you win 10 wins. You get 10 wins this year with Jayden Daniels? Well, dude, what's next year going to look like? So, I mean, it's exciting.
I'm a little less
no
optimistic with the wins. Without Jayden Daniels, I was thinking 7-8. And, with Daniels, now I'm more thinking, 8-9, possibly 10. So I'm close to being there with you. But either way, another thing, Reagan, that we need to mention is, what is the effect of bringing in Jayden Daniels to the other quarterbacks in the room? Because, obviously Miles being in, it seems like before Jayden, he was the penciled in starter. Not 100%, but seems like he was the penciled in starter. And we're hearing that now that Jayden Daniels is in the QB room, that Garrett Nussmeier is very, very likely to transfer. So then you go down to 3 scholarship quarterbacks, which isn't terrible if Miles decides to say, worst case scenario, Reagan, though, is you end up having to lose Garrett to transfer. Miles Brennan transfers before the fall in the spring. And then you're down to Jayden Daniels and Walker Howard. And then you're forced to have to play Walker Howard as the backup, and he's not able to redshirt, which is what him and his dad have made known that they would like for him to do this season. So, that's worst case scenario. I hate to put like a damper on this fantastic, awesome news, but that's something to just watch as we move forward with this Jayden Daniels thing.
Look, and Danny Girls is making a point here. I'm not a fan of Daniel's stats, but I think Brennan's stats look better than he is. So I don't think the stats tell the whole story either way. No doubt, Danny, there's no question the stats don't really tell the whole thing. That I will say that the 10 interceptions, 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions is kind of concerning, but he also rushed for 6 touchdowns as well, I believe, and over 1,000 yards. So you got to look at that aspect as well. But 10 interceptions is kind of concerning. There's no question. And you're playing Pac-12 defense, and now you got to face you got to face SEC defense. So I mean, look, everybody, we can't overreact. I mean, as fans, that's our tendency, right? The overreact. Oh, Jayden Daniels is a starter. I mean, he's a starter. Done deal. Look, there's a competition that's going to happen, and look, if Miles Brennan wins that competition, then he wins it. I mean, we may not think that right now. Like, we may think, oh, man, Jayden's got the mobility. He's got the arm. He's got the experience. Miles is coming back with something to prove, though. I mean, he's coming back for a reason. I mean, we know that he's been he's been loyal to LSU, and he has made it known that he wants to be at LSU. Maybe he's got something to prove, right? So don't count Miles Brennan out yet. I'm not saying that I like Miles Brennan over Jayden right now. I mean, honestly, I would rather, if I had to decide today who's going to be the starting quarterback, you made me decide. I would pick Jayden Daniels, but I agree. You've got to give Miles a shot, right? I mean, we LSU fans have also kind of been blinded by the loyalty of Miles Brennan, and we want to say, well, Miles Brennan is, man, he's gonna be incredible, man. Like, he's gonna be so good, and we've seen 3 games out of him, and we've seen these injuries, and he doesn't have as much experience as people talk like he does in reality. So we can't let our emotions as fans dictate the way we decide things just all on the whim of a moment. I mean, when everybody was like, you see the announcement of Miles Brennan that he's coming back, and everybody's like, Oh my gosh, QB1, he's coming back. He's so loyal. We love him. And of course we love him for that. Absolutely. The loyalty, I'm not questioning that by any means because his loyalty's been uncomparable. I mean, for real. And I think out. But look, he stayed, he's been loyal, he's gonna have a shot. I don't think they're just counting Miles Brennan out by any means because he agreed to come back. I don't think he's been guaranteed the starting spot by any means.
Reagan, here's a question that I do not think has been asked, and maybe just an idea that hasn't been thought of with this situation. Does Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock consider a 2-quarterback system where we might see a little bit of Miles Brennan in a game and then also Jayden Daniels comes in and is that a possibility? Do you think that's a possibility coming into next season? Do they give both guys a chance? Maybe they're not as confident in Jayden Daniels learning the scheme and getting familiar with the offense as they are Miles Brennan, but maybe they're more impressed with Jayden Daniels' talent over Miles Brennan, specifically.
Yeah.
Because we know Miles has a cannon. We know he's not mobile. Jayden Daniels obviously wins in that category, but Miles has a cannon. Yes, he's injury prone. Yes, the stats, are questionable, even though they look impressive. But the dude can throw the ball. He can chunk it. Do you put him in a situation where you need to throw the deep ball? Do you put Jayden in a situation where you need to run a wildcat? Is that a possibility, Reagan?
Oh yeah, it's a possibility. I think in this situation when you're rebuilding a team with the transfer portal, there's a lot of things that are a possibility, and a 2-quarterback system in this situation could be likely. You look at Michigan. I really liked I guess you could consider that a 2-quarterback system. Michigan, I really liked what they did with McNamara and McCarthy, or JJ. I think it's JJ McCarthy. I think that's right. But McNamara and McCarthy, they did this, where McNamara was kind of the main guy, and he could throw. And he was mobile, but he wasn't near as mobile as McCarthy. And McCarthy made things happen in some plays, and he can also throw it. So there was times when they would throw him in like a wildcat thing, and he's got an arm. So, so the defense wouldn't know, all right, we don't know if the dude's going to take off or he's going to throw because he can do both. So there's absolutely situations where you could make that work, and it worked for Michigan this last year, and I honestly loved the way they utilized McCarthy off the bench like that because it was impressive, honestly. So it's a possibility for sure. But
that may be something where they put Miles in for a passing situation, and then defenses get confused when they bring in Jayden Daniels because they expect the man to do some sort of wildcat, some sort of running play, and then as you mentioned with the Michigan quarterback system, the backup there and throw still. And Jayden Daniels could do that. He could come in and then throw the ball. Now, this is all just possibility. I'm not saying that. Yeah, hypothetical. This is not something that I'm saying is going to happen. But it's something interesting to think about. And is it something that they consider so that they hold on to Miles Brennan and prevent him from going to the transfer portal? And I'm not saying they would do that just to save their own tail and not allow Miles Brennan to do what's better for him, but obviously that would be discussed with Miles Brennan, all those things. There would be proper protocol and with Miles Brennan on that. So, it's just something to consider. I think that hasn't really been talked about.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. But look, regardless of all of that, the competition is definitely a good thing. For the quarterback room, the depth is a good thing for the quarterback room. And he is a talented quarterback. No question. He's talented. So this is a positive any way you spin it to me. Any way you spin it to me, this is a positive thing. Depth, experience, mobility, competition, all of that is positivity. All right. So we're excited to see what Jayden Daniels will do. and excited to see how that can work out. We do apologize, y'all. Zach is dealing with some internet issues. Hopefully, we can get that resolved and figure that out. Until then, you got me. So let's move from the first point here, Jayden Daniels, and let's get on to the baseball team. Got some stuff to talk about for sure. The baseball team goes to Houston for the Shriners Hospital Classic, and they win the first game against Oklahoma. And we talked about that on our last show Friday night. Thank you, Danny Girl. Yes, everybody hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow. We appreciate all your support. Well, we talked about that Friday night. I mean, just a huge, epic thing that happened with the walk-off, drop the bat home run, absolute nuke from Jordan Thompson. And, man, you felt like you were riding high after Friday night because of what happened, and you felt like maybe this can stretch into tomorrow when we're against Texas, and it just didn't happen. I'll say this: I was okay with the Texas game. I'm okay with the Texas game. Ty Floyd. I mean, a lot of people are going to say he wasn't the best, and he wasn't the best. I'll say that, but I feel like Ty Floyd pitched a better game than maybe a lot of people think. He really had the one bad inning. He only got you 4 innings because he pitched a lot of pitches. He had to work a lot of counts. And, man, other than the 1 inning, it really wasn't that terrible. I mean, it was with the lineup that we have, we should be producing to help our pitchers out against teams like Texas and against situations where the other team is going to score runs, like a team like Texas. So the Texas game I can live with. 6-1 loss, number 1 team in the country. Shake it off, go to tomorrow, and let's capitalize on this Baylor game. The Baylor game is the one that gets me. The Baylor game is really what gets me. The errors. Oh my goodness, the errors. I don't know what we got to do, man, to fix the fielding, but it's tough right now. It really is. It is tough. You came into the Baylor game, 245 in the country in fielding. 245. And then you committed 4 or 5, maybe 4 or 5 more errors. I can't remember exactly in the Baylor game. And you came into that game 245. I mean, man, that was a really, really tough game to watch fielding. I mean, absolutely brutal. We've got to figure out third base. I mean, we've got to figure that out. We got to figure out right field. And, man, we got to practice turning double plays. I mean, they've got to work on it. I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach. So by no means am I going to sit here and make suggestions because I would be atrocious when it came to fielding. So by no means am I trying to trash these guys. But Jay Johnson is here and understands the expectations that LSU fans have. And right now, that fielding is not living up to that expectation. I could be wrong, but these are not inexperienced freshmen making these errors. Danny, that's kind of the thing is not – none of them are freshmen making these errors. No. I will say Merrifield had not played on this level of college baseball yet. I mean, he was at LSU Eunice, and – I mean, the dude was Defensive Player of the Year, National Defensive Player of the Year at LSU Eunice. But he's not a freshman. I mean, he's been there. He's done that. Right field, I don't know if I like Barry in right field. I don't like it. It was kind of a liability at times. I would think I would rather see Gio out there. Maybe throw Joe Bear out there and see how he can do. But right now, you got to solidify. You have got to solidify your defense, and your best option is Gio. So I think we're going to see a lot more of Gio in right field moving forward, and we're probably going to see Barry at third. Barry did make a few solid plays over at third base, so we'll see how that plays out because I fully expect to see Gio with his speed out there in right field, maybe center field. We'll see. Hey, we got Zach back in here. Look, guys, it may be a battle tonight, but it is what it is. We'll keep rocking and rolling and figure it out. But I think you're going to see
my own Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you probably need to. But I want to see Gio in the outfield, so that maybe is not as much a question mark, and then see what Barry can do at third. I mean, Barry was the number one ranked player in Division I, according to D1 baseball, at third base. Let him play third base. I mean, Jay Johnson coached him at third base at Arizona. So he should be able to know, how he feels out over there at third base. So we'll see how this is going to be changed up, how this is going to – he's going to move this around. We'll see. You can tell by his demeanor, Barry doesn't want to play right field. Gio also needs to be in the lineup. He had 2 fly balls for about a foot and a half before the wall. Yeah, I agree, Cody. There was one ball that Gio hit that I thought was absolutely going off the wall. And if you aren't an Astro in Minute Maid Park, it's either going out at LSU or it's bouncing off the wall for a double. And knowing Gio's speed, he may be pushing that double to a triple if it comes off the wall. I mean, I absolutely agree. Gio needs to be in the lineup right now for defensive purposes, and his bat really hasn't been lacking that much. I don't know. I don't know what suggestions to make about the double play turning, other than it does need to improve. I mean, there were times when we could have gotten out of situations and we could have not allowed runs because of certain things, and that was the big thing is you shot yourself in the foot. A lot of times there was a lot of runs that were caused unearned runs because of errors that occurred. So the defense so far has been really a struggle, and I just we'll see how Jay Johnson handles it. I trust Jay Johnson. I don't know if y'all saw it or not, but he said he was hoping that Monday would be a day off, that they would capitalize on the Baylor game, and he called it a missed opportunity. The Baylor game is what he called it, a missed opportunity. And so he said he wanted to have Monday off. They didn't have Monday off, and I like that mentality. But look, guys, I mean, we're like third weekend in to the season. You still got a few more, I think two series left before conference play, maybe one more. I know we got Bethune Cookman this weekend. But it's early, guys. It really is. So let's not panic too much, and let's not overreact too much at this because it's a long season. There's a lot of games to play, and Jay Johnson's a great coach, man. He had Arizona in the College World Series twice, and LSU has talent on this roster, and this lineup should be able to produce. Cody, I was saying the other night that if LSU and Texas play in a college stadium, then Texas probably gets their first loss that night. 4 fly balls die at the warning track, and Ty is 1 error away from a W. You are correct. If he eats that ball that rolled down the third base line, you had 2 outs, man. If you eat that and you can get the next guy out, you get out of that jam, no runs. But you threw the ball went wild, scored a run, next batter comes up and hits a home run. So that's the reality of it. But that has to do with fielding again. You gotta improve on defense. Now, Zach, now that you're back in, I will say the offense felt like it lacked sometimes too. I mean, you didn't do enough against Texas. There were opportunities to capitalize. You didn't do enough against Baylor. There were opportunities, and we did not capitalize. I mean, they were big chances to blow these games open or make a push or bring it back close, and it just didn't happen. Zach, give me your thoughts on the final two games of this series.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what all you said while I was screaming at my Wi-Fi router and beating on the desk to try and get back in. But obviously the biggest problem, in my opinion, and I'll get to the hitting, Reagan, but the biggest problem, in my opinion, has to be the fielding. I'm sure you mentioned that. Jordan Thompson, I never want to pick on a player, but Jordan Thompson is just really struggling right now. And I know he can do better than what he's playing right now. He leads the country as at shortstop in errors. And that's really tough to see, and you just can't have that when you're going to be playing big time SEC ball. And I think Adrian AD put it in there. He said it was a very good measuring stick series. I have to agree.
Absolutely.
I think this was a reality check for LSU fans and maybe even the LSU baseball players and coaches themselves. LSU was riding high on all the offense and just the way they were dominating opponents, especially coming off coming off very emotional high win against Oklahoma and hitting a dinger to walk it off, and then you get a reality check. And I only think that's good for this LSU baseball team because they're going to have to go through a brutal SEC schedule. And I think they needed a reality check to refocus them on what they need to work on. So fielding 100% needs to be worked on. Correct me if I'm wrong, Reagan, but I'm pretty sure they committed 10 errors on the weekend in the 3 games that they played. I know they committed 5 against Baylor. I'm pretty sure it was 2 against Texas and then 3 in the Oklahoma game. So, you've got to clean that up. You've got to clean that up. And I think I heard you talking about this a little bit, Reagan. What do you do? Because you need offense to counteract those defensive errors. But then if you say, okay, well, we're going to put in Collier Cranford in at shortstop, and we're going to put in Gio over and right, and we're going to put in whoever, so-and-so in at X position, and to try and be better defensively and clean up the errors. Well, then you're worried about the offense because this team is elite offensively. Did they have some struggles this weekend offensively? Yes. But this team, when they're running at full capacity, they can hit the ball. One of the things, though, I had a lot of problems with this team hitting-wise this weekend is I saw a lot of times where guys just stared at balls go right by them and watched strikes go across the plate.
Against Baylor, go to the last
game. Go to the last game. The last 2 batters, they both get struck out looking. Stevenson gets struck out looking on the last 3. He gets ahead in the count. It's a 3-0 count, and then he stares at the next 3 strikes go right down the middle. When you get to 3-1, when you get to 3-2, you have to protect the plate. And they did not do a good job of protecting the plate. Yes, they can hit the ball. I don't think hitting's the problem. I think protecting the plate is the problem. You don't have to get a hit whenever a strike's coming. You just have to protect the plate and make sure you're alive. And that was very frustrating to see because it felt like, I hate to say this, I'm probably wrong to say this, but it really felt like Paul Mainieri stuff, like because a lot of LSU baseball players did that whenever Paul Mainieri was the head coach. They would stare at strikes and just watch them go by, and it frustrated the dog out of me. I don't think that continues to be a problem under the Jay Johnson era. With him as your coach, and how offensive it is, and how analytical he is with how a player approaches the plate. I think he's going to clean some of that up, and maybe some of that is just the players. That's probably not even Jay Johnson's scheme or approach to the plate for his players. So and I agree with Cody. If you're 3-1, you need to be aggressive. Yeah. Man, give your players the green light. Give your players the green light to swing away. You've got the batters. Another thing that's been talked about is replacing a righty with a lefty whenever they bring. I'm all for that. If it makes sense to bring in a lefty against a right-handed pitcher, because just from analytics that it's likely that lefty is going to hit on that righty more than a righty on a righty, then I'm all for it. I can get behind it. I'm never going to question that. Because they might substitute in a lefty on a righty pitcher when you have a righty coming up in the lineup that's overall a better hitter, has a better on base percentage. I'm not going to argue that if it makes sense, and if it goes with the analytics. So, some of that's been talked about. I just honestly have to say I agree with going that, and I understand doing that if that was the case. I know this weekend was a downer for LSU baseball outside of Friday. But I still think that this team is very talented. I still think this team
no doubt
is very likely a top 8 national seed. And I think that it's games like these and it's weekend series like these that are only going to mold them into the team that they eventually will be at the end of the season.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think Cody made the point about the Major League Park. There was a lot of balls that were hit, man. If you're in a college a park, LSU probably does score a lot of runs. I mean, there was a few hits out to the gap where, and even Dylan Cruz got to a ball one time that I was like, dude, if that was in a college park, we'd have been in trouble with that ball. But there's more that random spot where that box sits and then it jags, kind of back further. That spot in there is not in any college baseball park that I can think of off the top of my head. There may be one that kind of similar to that, but not like that one. And LSU hit it out there, like Gio hit it out there. And so I think there was one hit that Trey hit that went to the warning track. If you're at LSU, it goes out. Like, I mean, there was a lot of things that, I mean, the field, the stadium played a factor into. So you got to take that into consideration as well. Don't overreact by this. This will help them point out flaws. Obviously, the series pointed out some flaws that they have. And Johnson is a young coach, a determined coach, and he's going to attack those spots. But look, this weekend you did see some bullpen action. One of the bright spots out of the bullpen was Dutton. Samuel Dutton looked really good out of the bullpen. I really liked what I saw out of Samuel Dutton.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he came out and he pitched really well. He really did. I liked what I saw out of him. So that's another thing we need to keep watching is how this bullpen shapes up. If Hilliard isn't a weekend starter anymore, you need to see what Eric Rieselman can do on Sundays. Besides Blake, he was one of the only a couple that really impressed me a lot. A future Friday night starter. Yeah, I mean, Rieselman's been doing some good stuff as well. I like what I've seen out of him, but I think that honestly, I really wish he would have left McHale in this weekend. I don't know why you choose this weekend to change it. A weekend against Bethune-Cookman coming up may have been a better weekend to do that. But again, he's the coach, not us. So let's move forward here from that. Let's get to some comments, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll move into our last point tonight. Was Zach's edit work talked about on the Daniels edit? AD, you must have got in a little late. I gave him a round of applause to start the show off, man. We got it going talking about it, dude. I mean, I
did give you credits, AD. I did give you credits.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He did shout you out for that. So Zach's edit work.
Yes, sir.
I think whenever he was in high school, and we were kids. He started up an LSU
Yep.
Instagram page. You can probably find it somewhere. I don't even know what it's
Yep.
called. Zach probably remembers.
I think
there's
it's
edits on
deleted
there
now.
from years ago. Gotcha. You deleted
Shoot, I made one
Zach
way
did
back in
edits
the
when
day
we were in high school
with Brandon Harris, and I think I remember him DMing me, and I was in high school. I just like lost it. I was like, oh my gosh, Brandon Harris, the massive 5-star QB recruit, just DM'd me.
Yep.
So yeah.
So guys, we appreciate y'all's continued support. Y'all flood the comment section. We love to interact. I mean, we're going to throw up as many comments tonight as possible, and every night we want you to see y'all's comments. Cody, we appreciate you giving your input in on the baseball team. Let's take a quick break and hit our sponsors real quick, and then we will move in to our third and final point. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue. At Tigers Avenue, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We post all on there regularly. We share our stories, we share our episodes, and you can see our live show on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube as well at Tigers Avenue. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. You may be watching it. Click off and click that subscribe button, and then come right back. 5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue. All of his music is on all major platforms, including They Ain't Ready for That LSU. Go follow him at Saints Anthem on Instagram, at One Nation Doty on Twitter. Go check out his Facebook page. He has merchandise on there as well. It's Saints and LSU stuff. And go listen to his music on all major platforms. 5-Star Hero. We want to give a big shout out, first time tonight, to our Aunt Sarah Stevens, attorney at law. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. She is in Amory, Mississippi, and she is beginning to support our show, and we really appreciate that, Aunt Sarah. She says that her specific focus is on the needs of the elderly in our community to ensure that their wishes are carried out and their dignity is maintained. Sarah Klein Stephen, attorney at law, here for you, here for your family.
Guys, we want to encourage you to go and check out our website at tigersavenue.podbean.com. You can find the playlist to our YouTube as well as all of our latest episodes on the front page. If you go to the pages link, you can find 5-Star Heroes merch and all of his beats that are available on Apple Music and Spotify. If you go to our sponsors, you can see all of the sponsors that support Tigers Avenue and check out all of their info. If you check out the Tiger Times page, you can go and see all of our games that we've attended at Alex Box Stadium, Tiger Stadium, and the PMAC through the years. And if you click on the support page, you can go and find the QR codes for our Cash App and our PayPal to support Tigers Avenue. Again, all of this you can find at tigersavenue.podbean.com.
All right, let's get right into it. We've talked about the baseball. We've talked about Jayden Daniels. Let's cap it off with the Tigers on the hardwood. Boy, oh boy, what a game for senior day. What a way for Darius Days
Thank goodness
to make his exit from the PMAC. An excellent game from Darius Days.
Yes, sir.
What a battle to go to overtime and to get this major win to cap off the regular season. It just feels like this game can be a catapult into the postseason play that can be really a trampoline for this team to explode into the SEC tournament and make an impact and a run in the NCAA. Zach, give me your thoughts on the game, the big one against Bama on Saturday.
Well, it definitely was exciting, that's for sure. Back and forth, pretty much the entire second half. It was frustrating at times because LSU, it felt like they were always behind, and then they would catch up and tie the game, and then they'd get behind, and then they catch up and tie the game, and then they'd get behind, and they catch up and tie the game, they get behind and catch up. I mean, that was the entire second half just about until you got to under 4. And then after the under 4, they finally break through and they're able to pull ahead. Of course, Tari just dominated this game, but Darius Days was definitely the star of
Yes,
the
sir.
day. I mean, he went off for his senior day. Awesome, awesome. Congrats to him. We also potentially might be having him on the show soon, potentially. Talked with him over Instagram, congratulated him on a great season and a great game against Bama, and he's talked about joining the show and said he would love to join the show. So hopefully we'll be having Darius Days on soon. That will be awesome to get to have him on the show. But man, it was back and forth. It was back and forth. You definitely could have won it in regulation, but you go to overtime, you get the win, and Tari had the massive play where he gets the block and then he takes it down the other end, and he's able to lay it in, and LSU is able to get some separation there and able to pull it off. And against a team that Will Wade has really struggled against, that LSU Will Wade teams have really struggled against. They have not been able to beat Bama, it seems like, hardly at all. And of course, LSU fans our hate for Bama is massive, and so to do that
It runs
and
deep.
to be able to win and secure the 5 seed, you're going to get a first day bye in the SEC tournament. You were able to win a 5 team tie for 5th place in the SEC. LSU gets the 5 seed thanks to the Mississippi State and Texas A&M game outcome. And just really exciting way to end the regular season for the Tigers, especially with how rough it was down the stretch and near the end of the regular season. Just really, really tough for the Tigers. And hopefully this is a really big momentum builder. It's March, and games are always crazy in March. And for sure, that LSU Bama game was wild and crazy. And so hopefully this is a big momentum builder for this team moving forward into the postseason, moving forward to the SEC tournament, moving forward to the NCAA tournament. What I think, Reagan, what this also did for the Tigers is it secured them a 7 or 6 seed, or potentially, depending on how they do in the SEC tournament, a 5 seed.
Yeah.
If you lose this game and then you're one and done in the SEC tournament, you're probably looking at an 8 seed, and you're having to play the 8 and 9 game, which you don't want to do. I think LSU, with the win against Bama, at least locked up a 7 seed, and now you go into the SEC tournament postseason to see if they can do any better.
Yeah, I mean, what a fun game, man. Oh, my goodness. It was stress. It was nail-biting, and the Tigers pulled it off for Darius Days. Hey, man, hats off to Darius Days. He is a unique player in today's college basketball. There will not be many more players to do what Darius Days did at LSU, to stay for 4 full years and play for the Tigers without transferring, without going anywhere. He is a unique player, and that is going to be a
Big
rare thing. Shout out to Darius Days to cap off an incredible career at LSU. We love Darius Days. He will forever be a Tiger. He will always bleed purple and gold, and we wish all the best to Darius Days as he moves on from this season. Hopefully he can, make a run here at the end for his final stretch as a Tiger. And what a game from him, man. 24 points, 7 boards. You got to love it from him. I mean, he was good from 3. He was 3 for 7, 8 for 15 from the field, had a great day shooting. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better senior day, right? Just really proud and happy for him. One of the things that I took away from this game is we didn't want to criticize X too much, but he had been shooting a lot lately, and we wanted him to go back to facilitating more. Well, he got you 8 points this game and 8 assists, and his shooting was 4 for 10. So he shot 40% this game. So he kind of dialed it back. he started dishing the ball some more, and so I liked it. I liked what I saw out of X again. I mean, we need to get back to what we were doing with him moving the ball, and you saw that this game. It wasn't the best, I will say, from X, but he will definitely build on that and hopefully can continue to build on that. Man, Brandon Murray had a great game too. 17 points. He shot 50% from the field, 7 of 14. He had a great game, and boy, oh boy, Tari Eason continues to be Tari.
He was
Eason.
hot the first half.
Tari Eason is he ain't gonna be a Tiger next year. I'll tell you that. If Tari Eason is a Tiger next year, holy cow, you better look out. I mean, I don't foresee Tari Eason playing in the purple and gold next year. He could go very high.
If Tari Eason is in an LSU uniform next year,
SEC
put us in the
Player
Final
Year,
Four.
bro.
Just go ahead and put us there. Yeah, for real.
Look, I mean, holy smokes! He is a dude, and that play late in the game, that block, and then he got it himself and took it down and got the bucket. Clutch. He hit free throws late in the game as well, and kind of sealed the deal. Love what you see out of Tari Eason right now. Really do. Another thing that it seems to be improved on is the free throws. The last 2 games, we have been good from the free throw line. We were 20 of 22 this game, and last game we only missed 1. So I'm pleased with what we've seen these last 2 games. I know we lost the Arkansas game, but I mean, there's clearly been improvements made. It feels like since the South Carolina loss, a game that you feel like you should not have lost. You shouldn't have, not feel like you should not have lost that game. And it feels like there's been some strides made, and it feels like our defense is kind of getting back to what it looked like before. We're causing turnovers. We're really on top of it. And the last 2 games are kind of anomalies too with these 2 teams. I mean, of course, against Arkansas, there was 42 fouls called. So of course that elevated their score. And of course with Alabama, it's like all they do is shoot threes. I mean, they shot 40 threes against us on Saturday. 40. And they were 11 for 40.
Crazy.
From the 3 line. I can deal with that. I can go with 11 for 40 from the 3. I think in the second half you can count on one hand the amount of 2-point shots that they took. I mean, that's all they do, man. I mean, Nate Oates, if that's his philosophy, boy, they live by it. I mean, because that's about all they do is shoot threes and then get offensive rebounds and get putbacks, and like that's their offense. Period. And that's it. Like there's no post, there's like no mid-range, nothing. It's threes and getting an offensive rebound and putting it back up. I mean, they live by that. And I mean, if they're not shooting good for 3, Alabama ain't winning hardly any games. Because 43s in one game that's a lot of threes. I mean, compared to LSU's 20, they doubled LSU's 3-point shots, and LSU made less threes but had a better percentage from the 3 line. So I can put up with 11 for 40 all day long, and boy does it feel good to beat Alabama, because you'd lost 5 straight to Alabama. 5 straight, and I can't stand the Alabama Crimson Tide. So boy, it felt good to beat them on Saturday. Throw up that comment there from Cody.
It sure did.
If Brandon can fine-tune his skills this summer and be more consistent, he has the skill set to be NCAA Player of the Year. Look, yeah, I don't know if I'd go as far as say NCAA Player of the Year. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out, but Brandon
Potentially
Murray
SEC?
Potentially SEC type, I mean, in the future, Player of the Year type guy. He really is a dude. I mean, for Brandon to play the way he has this year as a true freshman, yeah, I mean, Brandon's really talented. That is a guy who's going to contribute a lot the next few years at LSU, and I'm excited to see what his career can be at LSU because he has a high ceiling. I mean, if this is his freshman year, shoot, he's gotten an SEC season under his belt now. I mean, one more full off season with Will Wade and implementing the system. He's gotten used to college ball. That dude can be really, really impressive next year. I'm excited about him, no doubt. I want to point something out. Will Wade went on the Jordy, goes on the Jordy Culotta show a lot. I think regularly. I think every morning or something like that. But he made a great point today. We have felt very disappointed in what this basketball team has done. And we understood, we understand that there's an expectations and there's expectations need to be met. And we know that this team could have done better than what they did. But the SEC preseason had LSU finishing 6th. And Will Wade wanted to point it out that they had us going 6th in the SEC with Adam Miller. And this team finished 5th in the SEC without Adam Miller. And he said point blank that when we found out that Adam Miller had tore his ACL, he said you would have walked into the locker room the first day they found that out, and you could have not convinced a single one of them that they were going to win 20 games and make the NCAA tournament. He said that it was devastating when they lost Adam Miller, that it was like, oh my gosh, are we even going to win 20 games? And they went out and won 21 games and finished 5th in the SEC without Adam Miller. So, although we know that this team, considering what they are now, could have done better, the expectations for this team was 6th with Adam Miller, and they excelled those expectations for the preseason without Adam Miller. So, give credit where credit is due. They exceeded those preseason expectations. Now, we'll see what it looks like next year when we have Adam Miller and he kind of puts some more pieces in place, because it sounds like he's going to probably go find another shooter. I mean, he made it clear in one post-game or press conference that he felt like he went overreacted a little bit with the big man, and he needs another shooter this year. And he said, we made the point that he said, I know the offensive formula. Now I figured out the defensive formula, and he wants to put those together. So I'm excited to see what this team can be next year now that Will Wade feels like he's figured out both sides of the ball. So when it comes to seeding, I think that the 5th seed was a huge deal. I mean, winning that game and getting the 5th seed was a big deal. We were lined up to play the I think it's the 7-8 game or something like that, or the 9-8 game. And then you got to go play Auburn the next game, even if you win the first game. Now you get to play a game where there's a play-in played before you. You get to play the winner of Ole Miss, Missouri, and then you get to go play the 4 seed. If you win, obviously, you get to go play the 4 seed, Arkansas. And you just went to Arkansas in Bud Walton, in front of a packed arena, and darn near knocked them off. Should have
beat them if the refs make the right calls.
We won't go over that. I won't get into it. I went into it last time. But we know how that game went. So, if LSU can take care of business on Thursday against whoever they play, whether it be Ole Miss or Missouri, it's going to be revenge season come next day. We're coming for them piggies.
I'd love to get some revenge on Ole Miss.
And that's a game you shouldn't have. That's one of your worst losses on the season, right? A quad 3 loss. Probably your worst loss of the season at home against Ole Miss. You would like to be like, hey, that was just a fluke. We just took care of business, right? You'd love to do that and then go beat Arkansas. And that would be awesome. I mean, if you tell it, You tell me we beat Ole Miss and then beat Arkansas and then go and lose to Auburn. So you win 2 games in the SEC tournament, get to the semifinals, lose to Auburn. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But this game was huge. This was a big win, and I mean, this is a big deal that LSU won this game because it really helps them out now in the SEC tournament seeding wise. Let's see. What was that? Let's throw up some more comments here. Let's finish out with some more comments. Zach will be in O's fishing hole if he gives me 3%. Go get in that fishing hole, boy. We got fishing holes for folks like you. Zach, you got to give him 25%, not 3%.
You're wrong for
You're
that.
wrong for that. Kentucky women shocked everyone and won the SEC tournament. So I can see LSU rested up and focused, making another deep push. Yeah, look, we were shocked by the what happened in the women's tournament, but they had solidified themselves. They're probably going to be a 2. I think they may be a 2 seed. I can't remember when the women's selection show comes out or not, but they were a 2 seed. I mean, LSU's a 2 seed in the women's tournament, and they can make a run and be rested from not playing as much in the SEC tournament. So, and that was the first time that Kentucky women. I mean, talking about Kentucky basketball, you would think the women's have won it sooner, but I think it was 1982 was the last time the Kentucky women's basketball won the SEC tournament. So, congratulations to the Kentucky women's basketball team. I'd like to see us run more plays with Wilkinson, more 3-point attempts from the corner. Sometimes I think Keith Hornsby snuck onto the court and started shooting threes. Yeah, man, that was Keith Hornsby's shot. I miss Keith Hornsby. He was an awesome player. I really loved watching him at LSU. I do like watching Wilkinson shoot those threes. I mean, it feels like he's kind of found his place there. You know, that's his shot, and he gets it once or twice a game, and he hits it a lot. I mean, he's your best 3-point shooter percentage-wise. So, absolutely. All right, let's get to that last comment down there. Danny definitely want revenge on Archie playing neck distasteful. Yes, it was. It was disrespectful. And they know that they won that game. The officials handed them that game. You know they did. And it would be so sweet to take them out in Tampa. So sweet. Hey, we appreciate all y'all listening. Let's close it out with some advertisements from our sponsor, and then we'll wrap it up when we get back. Go check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching right now, click off, hit the subscribe button, and come right back for the wrapping up of this show. Don't forget to go check out 5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They Ain't Ready for That LSU. All of his music is on all the major platforms, including They Ain't Ready for That LSU. Make sure you go follow him on Instagram at Saints at Anthem and Twitter at One Nation Doty. Go check his Facebook out for all of his merchandise, LSU and Saints merchandise. He's got some awesome stuff on there. 5-Star Hero. Also, Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. We appreciate Sarah Klein Stevens law firm supporting the Tigers Avenue. They like to specialize in the needs of the elderly in their community to ensure that their wishes are carried out and that their dignity is maintained. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
Guys, we want to encourage you to go and check out our website at tigersavenue.podbean.com. You can find the playlist to our YouTube as well as all of our latest episodes on the front page. If you go to the pages link, you can find 5-Star Heroes merch and all of his beats that are available on Apple Music and Spotify. If you go to our sponsors, you can see all of the sponsors that support Tigers Avenue and check out all of their info. If you check out the Tiger Times page, you can go and see all of our games that we've attended at Alex Box Stadium, Tiger Stadium, and the PMAC through the years. And if you click on the support page, you can go and find the QR codes for our Cash App and our PayPal to support Tigers Avenue. Again, all of this you can find at tigersavenue.podbean.com.
All right. We really appreciate y'all's continued support and listening. We love to see all y'all's comments throughout our episode. We appreciate y'all interacting. Hey, go like, subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do on all of our stuff. We appreciate your continued support. We'll catch you next time on Friday night in the Tigers Avenue. Take us out. 5-star. Peace.
Who that 5-star? Who that 5-star? Who that 5-star? And the LSU Tigers, LSU